and welcome to this week's Wednesday midweek musing. My name is Ginger and this is my channel Ginger Goes GLP-1, where we discuss all things GLP-1. In my specific case, that would be Mounjaro. And I am on a 7.5 milligram pen of Mounjaro, and I have been for the past 16 weeks. I started my Mounjaro journey back in 2024, October the 1st, and I've been on this for, I think it's 33 weeks now. So Mounjaro, is it worth it? Well, obviously I can only speak for myself, and whether I think it's worth it for me, you've got to make your own decisions. But I just want to go over a couple of things that I've noted in the last sort of 33 weeks and why for me personally this Mounjaro journey has been worth it. One of the things I would say that puts people off in the beginning, and I know it certainly did me, was the cost of it. When I started back in October 2024, there weren't that many UK providers offering it. I think there were like 4 or 5 maybe, and those prices ranged from anywhere from I think £170 up to 200 and I think it was about £230 with one provider. And the reason for the price disparity was that they were saying the amount of support that they would give you to go along with taking the sort of injection. So that would be online support, dietary advice, and things like that. Things have changed since October, and there are a lot more providers out there, and they are offering cheaper options with just the option to buy the medication, take it, and then you're on your own to seek extra support around dietary advice and maybe checking in with people. I know there are varying levels of support that people have experienced along the way. I did change providers. I changed from Asda online to MedExpress about 3 months into my journey, I think, and that was really just for a price difference. And I've been very happy with MedExpress all along the way. I get my pen usually within 2 days from when I order it, and they are available if you have any questions. You can, a lot of the questions are available online, but yeah, from a pricing option, I would say you do you. You decide what kind of level of support you want, and if you just want a cheap pen and you know enough about it, or you've watched enough videos that you can make your own decisions, then do that. If you do need more support, then maybe go for the higher option, and you can have sort of like weekly or bi-weekly check-ins with a nutritionist, and I think some of them offer mental health coaches. The price put me off in the beginning because I thought, crikey, that's going to be, let's say ballpark 180 a month. I thought that was quite a lot of money, and I didn't realize the amount of money now that I have saved. So I would say since I've been taking Mounjaro, I have saved probably thousands of pounds. Maybe unlike some of you, maybe like some of you, I used to spend an absolute fortune on food, grocery shopping, going out to the store, buying treats, having little binges where I'd go out and maybe spend up to 20 quid a night, just like getting food in that I would intend to eat just that night. So that was quite an expensive exercise. And I would say that over the years, I can't even begin to count up how much money I've spent, wasted. And then at the end of the night, when I'm like, right, that's it, I'm never doing this again, I'd end up throwing some of that food away. I'd either end up throwing it away, or I try and binge on it and get it all done and eaten within one night. So that was costly for both my pocket and for my health, because I would be eating huge amounts of food just to try and get it gone and try and get my value for money. And I think we all know that, you know, those times when we're doing that, it leaves a bit of a stain on your soul, and there's no benefit to it. So you're spending all of that money, and actually you're feeling worse at the end of the night than you were at the beginning of the night. At least I was. So has it saved me money? Yep, It saved me tons of money. My grocery shops are a lot smaller, they're more nutritionally balanced, and I'm not throwing food away. I would say I don't have the intentions to eat the good food like I used to. I have the intentions to eat the good food, and I do eat the good food. So by the end of the week, when it's time to go shopping again, my fridge is pretty empty. And anything that I haven't eaten, I've usually either turned into soup or I've stuck it in the freezer ready for another day. So, so yeah, it saved me lots of money. So financially, it sounds expensive on paper, but actually, when you put it into practice, you may end up saving loads of money. Weight loss. So is it worth it? Well, I've lost 60 pounds in the last 7 months, 60 plus pounds. I'm midweek, so I'm not quite sure where I am on weight loss, but I've lost 60 pounds in 7 months. Now, I've done every diet out there, as many of you have. I've tried all the different programs, and I lost that same 10 to 20 to 30 pounds time and time again. I'd get to a certain point and then I'd give up and I'd binge, or I'd give up and throw the towel in and just think, oh, I hate this diet, or I can't have XYZ. If I'm doing no carb, or I'm doing low fat, or there's usually something that I'm missing out on. When I started Mounjaro, I got rid of all of those diet mentalities, and I decided I was just going to eat smaller portions, which Mounjaro kind of forces you to do because you have the hunger suppression. Excuse me, there's the burps. Because you have the hunger suppression, um, and I was going to eat anything that I wanted, but in adequate portion size, not going overboard. So I got rid of all of that. And what I can say is, I have consistently lost weight every single month, not every single week. I have had one week where I did gain, I think it was 0.1 of a pound or 0.3 of a pound. I can't remember. It was quite a long time ago, where I only lost like or I'd gained a very small amount of weight. But I've consistently lost every single month. So I've lost 70 pounds, sorry, 60 pounds in 7 months. I'd never done that before on any of the other programs. Like I said, I would get to a certain point and I would just throw it in, and I would go back up to whatever weight I'd started at, or I'd even go past that weight a little bit. So, in terms of weight loss, is Mounjaro worth it? Well, yeah, so far it is worth it. It has been the easiest weight loss journey that I've ever had. Obviously, it's not all plain sailing. I'll come to that in a minute, but I can say that in the last 7 months, I've done better probably than I have in the last 7 years in terms of weight loss, maybe even more, maybe even like 10, 15 years. I've been more successful weight loss wise. So is it worth it for weight loss? It has been worth it for me, 100%. Coming on swiftly to side effects. Is it worth it because of the side effects? Now, if you saw my video on Saturday, you might not have thought so, because I was struggling with mega suppression. Like I said, that's gone now. But some of the side effects that I have had since the very beginning are sulfur burps, burps in general. I've had some constipation. I've had an itchy spot on my back. I've had ear popping, which I haven't had for the last 2 days. Not quite sure why. It comes and goes. I've had a rash around the injection site. I've had a couple of bouts of feeling nauseous, not being able to eat, feeling sick, not really wanting anything at all. I've had ongoing sleep issues. I wake up in the night a couple of times, and I am very tired. I do suffer from fatigue because of it. The other one I have is heartburn. I had that in the beginning. I do have Barrett's esophagus, so the heartburn is kind of like a normal thing for me. So it wasn't necessarily just Mounjaro. But on the flip side of that, the positives that I've had, the positive side effects are, obviously, I've lost 60 pounds. My mental health has improved dramatically. I feel so much better in myself. I made it through most of this winter with very low symptoms of my seasonal affective disorder, which usually takes over my winter. Um, Winter is usually a really bad time, really low mood, lots of sleep. I did sleep lots, um, but I didn't have the same mood and tearfulness that I did in previous years. Um, my heartburn has actually almost completely gone. I will occasionally get some heartburn after a late meal or a particularly big meal or sometimes a fatty meal. But I'm talking, I've maybe had one or two bouts of heartburn in the last 2 to 3 months. And because I have Barrett's esophagus, that was a bi-daily, bi-weekly occurrence for me. I can say that I haven't had any heartburn symptoms. I haven't had any regurgitation, which comes with Barrett's and hiatus hernias. I haven't had any of that for several months. I feel pretty confident that my Barrett's is sort of under control. It will never get better from where it is right now. Um, but I would say it's very well controlled, and my use of medication has decreased significantly. Um, in terms of managing that. And that's because I've lost weight. My stomach sits lower in my body, so it's not pushing the food back up my esophagus. So that's been a huge win for me. My positive outlook, most of the time. Sometimes, life happens. Like I said, life is lifing, and I do get a bit low. Work stresses, things like that. But overall, positive outlook. I've started exercising a lot more, a lot more. I've started exercising, full stop. Um, I'm more motivated to get things done. I'm tidier around the house. I know these sound like little things, but they all add up. I'm more motivated to get things done. I'm tidier around the house. I've changed my diet completely, and my preferences as a consequence have changed. I crave healthier foods. I was craving blueberries the other day. Like, I really wanted some nice blueberries. I went out and bought a punnet of blueberries and I had couple of handfuls of them. And, before I would have been craving chocolate or potato chips, crisps, peanuts and cheese and like heavier stuff. But now I find I'm craving things that are actually good for me, which is brilliant. What else? My blood pressure has gone down. My blood pressure now, every single time I take it, regardless of the time of day, the amount of coffee I've drunk, even work stresses, etc., my blood pressure is under control. And it's sort of somewhere between the 110 to 120 over sort of 70 to 83, I would say. The other thing I would say is I've had no binges, none at all. I used to have like what I would sort of call my Sunday syndrome, where Sunday afternoon I would start thinking about what I wanted to eat, whether it was loneliness or just stress of the coming week, or I felt I needed a treat or I deserved something. I used to plan a binge on a Sunday, and I would go out on Sunday afternoon and trawl the shops for all the different things that I could eat that evening to um, fake my way to some kind of happiness or satisfaction, or just, I don't know, dull myself into some kind of a state where I wasn't feeling all the feelings, basically. Haven't done that at all. And I used to talk about it in my earlier videos. Um, and then I noticed I just don't talk about it. I don't think about it. Sundays come and go just like any other day to me now. And I'm not seeking out that food for comfort. So that's another way that Mounjaro is definitely worth it for me. Overall, I would say I feel great, let's say 90% of the time, 90 to 95% of the time. My mood does fluctuate. I recognize that about myself, but overall, I feel great. I feel positive. I feel optimistic. I'm not floored by things that I used to get floored by. I generally have happier disposition, and I'm not as angry as I used to be. Is that a result of the weight loss and just feeling better in myself and my life? Is it the Manjaro has affected my brain, my chemicals, my hormones? I don't know. But what I can say is that I'm feeling so much more improved and better in the last 7 months than I have done in at least 7 to 10 years. Um, Obviously, I am aware that so there's a lot of videos out there at the moment of people speaking negatively about GLP and GLP-1s and saying, you've got to stay on them forever. The side effects are terrible. You're just going to gain the weight back. They or wouldn't take the medication because it's a lifelong, it's expensive, and they only talk about the really, really, really severe side effects that people get. And I haven't really had any of those. I've had quite a lot of side effects, and some of them have been moderately strong and have caused me some discomfort, displeasure, sort of like feelings that I needed to see a GP, like my ear popping, although that hasn't come in the last 2 days. So I don't know, some of these are transient. But overall, the payoff for me against those negative side effects to all of the positives and how I feel and how I go about my day to day, how I'm coping with stress at work, um, it it's worth it for me 100 times over. And I would even say, if the price of Mounjaro went up, please don't put the price of Mounjaro up. If the price of Mounjaro went up, I would be looking at adjusting my finances and making changes in my life to make sure that I could still prioritize getting that medication. That's how important it is to me. That's how much I think it is worth it to me, that I would be willing to make sacrifices in other areas of my life to be able to stay on this for quite some time. Like I said, I've kind of gone into this with, it's going to be 2 years. It's definitely going to be 2 years. I'm at the 7 months, coming up to the 8 month mark. So I'll be a year in October, but I plan on definitely staying on it for until the following October, because I want to see how I go in maintenance and titrating down. I don't know when I'm going to hit my weight loss target. I don't know what my weight loss target is yet. But what I do know is this has been such a game changer for me that I want to stay on it for as long as possible, even if that's at a very low dose, because the benefits I've felt since starting this are innumerable, and there have been no negative side effects. Even the side effects that I have, the ear popping, which is really irritating and gets on my nerves and can interfere with my day, is still worth it for the remainder of my day when it's not happening and I'm feeling good. So is it worth it for me? 100%. Is it worth it for everybody? No. If you're vomiting every single day, or you've got terrible diarrhea or constipation, or you wake up every day with a headache, or your rashes are out of control, then it's probably not going to be worth it for you. But these are things that you have to take into consideration. This is a journey, and things happen on a journey. Like I said, there are highs and lows. You go off the path, you come back, you go back 2 steps, you gain weight, you have a terrible week. They're all things that we try and balance out. And life does that, whether you're on a medication or not. But the benefits for me far outweigh the negatives. If you'd like to share anything about how it's working for you, what your positives or your negatives, or why you're staying on it or choosing to come off it, going up to a higher dose, anything, leave it down in the comments. And if you do like my content, please do think about subscribing. It's about 50-50 who watch it and are subscribed, and who watch it and don't subscribe. So a lot of you watch my stuff, but not everybody is a subscriber. So if you want to think about that, it actually helps me, and YouTube pushes it out to more people so they can see my content. But if you do like this, like I said, give me a thumbs up, like, do comment. I always try and respond to all the comments. And I will see you again for Saturday for a weight loss update or weight gain. I don't think it will be a gain, but who knows? I'm feeling quite positive this week now that I've come through the weekend and I've made it sort of Wednesday midweek. Things are looking a little bit brighter. I'm feeling a bit better. And yeah, so I'm hoping for a good week overall. I hope you're having a good week too. If you're not, if you're looking for any support or you're just feeling like you want to reach out to anybody, leave a comment and I'll see if I can send something positive back to you. But that's all for today's midweek musing, and I thank you for watching. Take care. Bye bye.